Wait, I thought that stealing was wrong.
Well, stealing is wrong. Stealing home is an art.
Oh.
Hey, Fuchsia Fish. Oh, hey, Storyteller. Hey, Dog the Dinosaur.
Hello, everybody.
I didn't know that fish liked baseball. Huh, it's a common misconception. Now you know better. Come on, let's play ball.
Oh, I better go sit down. That's my cue.
All right. Stealing home is indeed, as Fuchsia Fish said, an art form that helped Jackie Robinson go against the odds. One of the all-time baseball greats. And our friend Bob Burleigh wrote this, illustrated by Mike Wimmer, and thanks to our friends at Simon Schuster, who specialize in creating great books for kids like you. Arms outstretched to keep his delicate balance. It's a balance. Now this is tiny writing, so I'm going to read it for you. Then and now. See, it's shaped like a baseball card that kids collect, or they used to collect. I don't know. Do you collect cards anymore these days, kid? Let me know. So you see, Dodgers, baseball. Glance at any Major League Baseball game today. African Americans, as well as Latino and Asian players, dot the field wherever you look. They're among the leading batters, the best pitchers, the most breathtaking base runners. It is impossible to imagine contemporary baseball without them. But now, we turn back the clock to 1946. And look again. From Boston and New York to Chicago and St. Louis, Major League Baseball was strictly a white player's game. Now, true, the so-called Negro Leagues fielded great teams with some players later to be named Hall of Famers, but none of these All-Stars received as much as a phone call from a Major League club. Hard to believe nowadays, right? Baseball, of course, was only a bite-sized picture of mid-20th century American life. By law and by custom, in the South and in the North, a great wall separated black people and white people. Could this begin to change? Enter Jackie Robinson. And you're thinking, but he's just a baseball player. How is he going to change everything? Watch. Number 42 dances his odd pigeon-toe dance off of third base. Jack of all sports, Jackie Robinson became a Hall of Fame baseball player. But that, as they say, is only the tip of the iceberg. People who saw him play any baseball people who saw him play say baseball wasn't even his strongest game. No. If he'd been white, there's no doubt that Robinson would have been signed by one of the National Football League teams in the 40s. Yup. That's a great athlete for you. They can play more than one sport. Incredible. And brilliantly at that. After a stellar career at Pasadena Junior College, Jackie went on to UCLA and started football, basketball, baseball, and track. That is an all-around champ. In fact, he was the first UCLA athlete to get letters in 4 sports. Robinson helped make UCLA a football powerhouse. In the 1940 season, the Midnight Express averaged more than 10 yards a carry. That's a cool nickname, the Midnight Express. That was his nickname. Let's see. As for track, he broke his brother Mac's broad jump record by leaping more than 25 feet. Oh, that might have been an awkward dinner that night. Want more? Jackie, no doubt in his spare time, even won several local tennis and ping pong tournaments. What? I didn't know that. Well, what's left to say? I don't know. What is left to say? Oh, look at this. Number 42 dances his odd pigeon-toe dance off of third base and down the dirt, scumbled and chalk-lined path leading to home plate 90 feet away. As the packed, white-shirted crowd wakes to a visible electricity. Shh, electricity. Everybody's watching. What's Jackie gonna do? They know he's a champ. They know he's a great. They can recognize it from out there. And voices call out, call out, call out. Jackie! 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 And the pitcher rocks and bends and goes into a slow, careful wind-up, darting a quick glance sideways. Look at that. He's sizing up the situation. And where the base runner on third starts and stops cold and starts again, bursting suddenly in 2 strides from absolute stillness to full speed. What is he doing? He's dancing around the base. Is he trying to steal a base? Is that what's happening? Until there is nothing now but the tiny ball. And shh, he throws it. and the all-out sprinting man blurring towards the crouch catcher. He's running, trying to get there. The batter leaps backwards and away. What? And then the wild dust cloud heaving slide and quick foot under the too late tag. Ooh! So the pitcher, instead of pitching to the batter, he threw out and turned around and threw it to the guy at base to try to stop him from stealing a base before he could even have a run to run on. But nope, too late. He made a point. And the flat hand of the umpire signaling, safe! That's right, he's safe. And the thunder of the screaming mouths. Everybody goes wild. Because this is Jackie Robinson, and baseball, and America too, will never be quite the same again. Now let's get details. Dem bums ain't bums no more. An old nickname for the Brooklyn Dodgers was the Bums. That's because in the early years, the team lost a lot and often looked comically bad in losing. Ooh, like you would go to a baseball game and accidentally watch a comedy show. This changed with the arrival of Jackie Robinson. During Jackie's 10-year major league career, that's back in 47 to 56, 1947 to 1956. Brooklyn won 6 National League pennants and 1 World Series. And when they didn't win the pennant, the Dodgers were always real close to it. Jackie, of course, he didn't do it alone. There he is, stealing the base. He's halfway off the base. He's taking a chance, right? Because he's safe here, not safe here. If the pitcher throws the ball, he could be tagged out in the middle. This is the danger. This is the art form that he mastered. Jackie, of course, didn't do it alone. His Brooklyn teammates at different times included other baseball greats like Pee Wee Reese, Duke Snider, Gil Hodges, and Dixie Walker, along with fellow African-Americans Don Newcomb and Roy Campanella. Tons of these guys would go on to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, Dodgers versus Yankees. Classic battles of all time. Unfortunately for Brooklyn fans, the powerful Dodger teams of the 40s and 50s arose at the same time as the awesome New York Yankee teams. The Yankees were first led by the great Joe DiMaggio and later by the immortal Mickey Mantle. These are probably names you might have heard before, or if not, these are big guys in baseball history. Brooklyn met the Bronx Bombers in what they were called Crosstown Classics in all 6 of Jackie Robinson's pennant-winning years, but only once. In 1955, did the Dodgers come home world champs, winning the series in 7 games. It was, in fact, in that very World Series that Jackie spectacularly stole home. It happened during Game 1. The Dodgers ended up losing the game, but many observers credit Jackie's base-running daring with inspiring his team to go on to ultimate victory. And inspiration is a big deal in sports because they talk about playing with skill, but also with heart. Heart is what keeps you going when the chips are down and things don't look good, but you need to keep pushing on. And that's where inspiration is critical. I'm looking for a ball player with guts enough not to fight back. That's a quote. It was August 1945. Jackie Robinson sat across from Brooklyn Dodger general manager Branch Rickey. Branch Rickey, the general manager, that's the big kahuna, the big guy, the boss, the big cheese. During an intense 2-hour meeting, Branch Rickey had questioned Robinson on everything from his personal life to his belief in himself, and he reminded Jackie that he would face many trials. Trials are obstacles, troubles, challenges, if you will. He would face indifference, hate, even physical abuse during his first year in the major leagues. But this general manager, the boss, the big cheese, he really wanted one thing. He wanted Jackie to remain cool and calm at all times. Speaking forcefully, the older man uttered a strange and blunt statement. What was it? He said, "I'm looking for a ball player with guts enough not to fight back." Was Jackie ready for this? I mean, if somebody threatens you or is mean to you, you want to push back, right? Could he do this? Well, for a moment, Jackie was surprised. But in the end, he agreed to be exactly the ball player that Rickey was looking for. Against all odds, a new baseball world was about to be born. Why was he going to face these obstacles? Because we just said baseball was only played by white players back then. Nobody was used to seeing black baseball players outside of the Negro leagues. This was going to be a historic first. and everything would change from here on out. Jackie in Canada. April 1946, when the Montreal Royals opened their season in New Jersey, more fans had bought tickets than there were seats in the stadium. What? More fans bought tickets than there were seats? That's a super sold out standing room only crowd. Well, Jackie did not disappoint. Apparently they all came out to see him. He whacked 4 hits, won a home run, and scored 4 times in the Royals' first game romp. Apparently his reputation as a superstar was already out there. Robinson led his team to the International League pennant and to victory in the Junior World Series. Montreal fans, those are the fans in Canada, loved him for his courage, his inventive base running, the stealing of the bases, and his will to win. That's the whole inspiration factor of Jackie Robinson. They hailed him after the final game and even followed him down the street, still cheering. Sports writer Sam Malton wrote in a combination of wit and bitterness, "It was probably the only day in history that a black man ran from a white mob with love instead of lynching on its mind." Lynching, that's the way that black men back then could be attacked. But this wasn't an attack of hate. This was an attack of love. The lonely, triumphant year, 1947, the season that was. There were catcalls, jeers, death threats, vicious slurs from opposing dugouts, beanballs spiked, aimed at his legs, but Jackie Robinson kept his cool, and he kept his promise to Branch Rickey and endured it all. And concentrate he did, because how else can you do but to concentrate? Concentrate he did, playing first base. Robinson batted .297. And he was a key reason Brooklyn won the National League pennant. Fans soon realized that Jackie Robinson was a special talent. I mean, it was obvious, and he was destined to change baseball forever, even before he was named the 1947 Rookie of the Year. Oh, look, there's the pitcher staring him down, wondering if he could get around this powerhouse player. Still, Jackie's Dodger teammates range from being occasionally hostile to being mostly distant. And these are supposed to be his teammates, his buddies, his pals. On road trips and before and after games, Robinson kept mainly to himself, meaning he was kind of lonely on the road. Sports writer Jimmy Cannon, reviewing Jackie's first months in the big league, called him the loneliest man I've ever seen in sports. Wow, that's tough to have all those fans loving you and then teammates being cold to you. I mean, he was doing incredible things, but doing incredible things doesn't come easy, or everybody would do incredible things, right? Jackie's greatest season. Jackie's most difficult year was no doubt 1947, his rookie season. But if statistics tell the tale, his career year was 1949. Experience, self-confidence, and natural ability combined to help him put it all together. All the experience had come together. Now he had been working in the leagues for a while. He knew his way around, and confidence helped him play even better. The result? An battering average of .342, 124 runs batted in, 203 hits, and a league-leading 37 stolen bases, all adding up to Robinson's being named the National League's most valuable player. These are good statistics in case you have to have, like a book report about a sports figure. This is good information. In addition, Jackie was picked as a second baseman on the Major League All-Star team. Oh, All-Star team. The only downside to this awesome season was the World Series, where the crosstown New York Yankees defeated his Brooklyn Dodgers 4-1. Oh, you can't win them all, as they say. This card says, he never had it made. Robinson's autobiography is titled, I Never Had It Made. Huh. Truer words, one might say, were never spoken. Consider Jackie's childhood. Born in 1919 in Georgia, Jack Roosevelt John Robinson, oh yeah, it's his full name, Jack Roosevelt Robinson, was the youngest of 5 kids born to Mally and Jerry Robinson. When Jackie was just 6 months old, his father, a poor sharecropper, left his family and never returned. Whoa, can you imagine? Your dad walks away from your mom and your siblings so young. Basically, at 6 months, probably couldn't remember, right? You don't remember anything about 6 months, do you? I don't. Yeah, me neither. Jackie's mom decided to take the family from Georgia to Pasadena, California. Woo! The California life. All aboard! Things were better for black people in California than in the South. But not by that much. The family found it hard to rent a house. Food often scarce. The kids were called insulting names. Blacks were kept out of swimming pools, movie theaters, and most restaurants. The miracle is that Jackie Robinson became a baseball star. Oh no, it says here, the miracle isn't that Jackie Robinson became a baseball star. The miracle is that he kept going. I see what they mean. It's not a miracle that he became a baseball star because he had so much talent born into him. The amazing thing is that he kept going and overcame all those obstacles to reach as high and as far as he did. Daredevil Jack. Jackie Robinson was an all-around baseball star, but it was on the base paths that he especially distinguished himself. Keep in mind that from the 1920s on, mostly due to the influence of Babe Ruth, another baseball great, baseball had become more and more a power hitter's game. Base running had, to some extent, become a lost art, but not with our guy. Robinson changed that. His ability to reach full speed in just a few strides, his instinct for taking an extra base, and his sheer speed made him a constant threat. That meant the other team is constantly watching him, not sure what he's up to. It throws him off, you know? Well, Dan, that's what you want to do with an opponent. He loved upsetting opposing pitchers into walking a batter or committing a balk. It was Jackie who, in the modern era, reopened the door to one of baseball's most exciting moments, bold base running. Daring, he once declared, that's half my name. Yes, it is. Man versus ball. Man wins. Stealing home. On paper, it looks like a hopeless proposition, really, if you think about it. A major league pitcher's baseball, coming roughly 60 feet from the mound to home plate, arrives in less than a second. A second! This is super fast. The distance from third base to home plate is 90 feet or 30 yards, a distance the world's fastest sprinters can't cover in less than, say, 3 seconds. Add it up. No base runners from third can ever beat the pitched ball to the plate. Take that in. Nobody can, or can they? Wait, there's more. If the base runner is alert, he can study the pitcher, detect that slight but all-important pause between the windup and the release of the ball. Well, and if he's Jackie Robinson, he possesses the quick start and gutsy attitude that make for a baseball legend. Jackie stole home 19 times in his career, most notably during the Game 1 of the 1955 World Series. Wake up, America! Jackie's calling! Jackie Robinson never willingly accepted being a second-class citizen. Even as a youngster in Pasadena, he answered back to neighborhood children who taunted him with insulting names. One time, he sat with friends at a local whites-only lunch counter until they finally served him. As a college football player, he refused to stay in a different hotel from his white teammates. As a U.S. Army officer, he protested against the unfair treatment of black soldiers. For Jackie Robinson, the struggle never stopped. Indeed, in his very last public interview in 1972, he was sick, he was weak, and he was dying. And he called once again on organized baseball to admit African Americans to managerial and executive posts. That means coaches, owners, the guys who control the baseball team from the offices, to let African Americans in. Jackie the Magnet. Robinson endured insults from many opposing teams, but he was also one of the most watched and most popular players of his time. So he was winning hearts and minds all the time. No matter what was happening to him, he knew he was making a difference. During Jackie's first year in the majors, Brooklyn Dodger attendance soared. Even when the Dodgers played exhibition games in the South, thousands of black fans came early just to see the practice. In the late 40s, they even made a movie about his life, and he played himself. How about that? One poll at the time named him America's second most popular celebrity, after Bing Crosby, one of my favorite crooners. Hank Aaron, Mr. Home Run himself, recalls hearing Jackie when he was a young man. I think he talked about segregation, but I didn't hear a word. Jackie was such a hero to me. I couldn't do anything but gawk. One tribute multiplied by thousands. Wow. When Jackie Robinson was inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame in 1962, 3 people shared the podium with him. Who were they? Branch Rickey, remember him? The big kahuna, the owner, the big cheese of the Dodgers, who gave him a chance. Jackie's mother, Mally, and his wife, Rachel. To baseball watchers, Rickey was the best known of the 3, the owner, the big cheese. But in many ways, the 2 women were more important in Robinson's life. His mother had pretty much raised him and 4 kids, additional 4 kids alone. Her strong will and self-respect were part of Robinson's character his whole life. His wife, Rachel, well, she stood by him from the time of their marriage in 46 until he died in 1972. Her steady, quiet support helped Jackie when times were tough in those early baseball years. And later on, Rachel Robinson had a significant career of her own. She became a teacher at the Yale University School of Nursing. One of the best universities in the country. That's amazing. Well, Jackie plays on. Jackie's late arrival on the big league scene. He was 28 as a rookie. Well, that meant his career was going to be shorter. He retired baseball after playing for just 10 years. Jackie Robinson, however, never stopped moving ahead. For years, he worked as a business executive. And at the same time, he continued to fight against racism in his country. He made friends with lots of activists, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Only poor health slowed Jackie down. Slowly before he died, the Dodgers, now the Los Angeles Dodgers, they moved from Brooklyn to LA. Well, they retired his old number, 42. That is a huge honor. That doesn't happen all the time. At the funeral, the young Reverend Jesse Jackson summed up the serious meaning of Jackie Robinson's life. Jackie danced on the base paths, Jackson told the hushed crowd, but it was more than a game. It wasn't. It was life-changing. And now you know why sometimes it's okay to steal, right?
Yes. Now I know that it's so wrong to steal.
That's right, it's so wrong to steal. But it's perfectly acceptable and actually recommended,
I would say so.
to steal home.
I like that very much. Storyteller?
Yes.
I'm just kind of sad because he had to, suffer stuff and bad names and people weren't his friend all the time.
Yeah. That was a pretty lousy part of the story, I have to say. Well, what makes the story so beautiful is that he continued to fight and persevere. That's a fancy word for fighting on and facing challenges head on. Because the people who fight for their dreams and fight for their rights, those are the people who change the world.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
And that is the beauty of Jackie Robinson's life. I loved it. Also, I love baseball. I love baseball history.
I had no idea that fish watch baseball
all the time. If you only
knew. I learned stuff around here every single day.
Me too. Well, kid, I hope that you enjoyed our special stealing home story.
Yes. I enjoyed it very much. And don't forget to subscribe. You never tell them to subscribe so that they can come back and visit me.
I'm so sorry. Yes, please do as Doug the Dinosaur said.
And subscribe so that you can come back and visit because I love seeing you. Okay. All right. Bye.
Oh, that was sweet.
See you next time, kid, on KidTime StoryTime.